Okay, in this video, we're going to go over straddle planche. I've already made a video on tuck planche and advanced tuck. So if you are at that standard or level, then check out those videos. But for straddle, right, we're going to go into why it is that you can't or build or go to the actual straddle that you're looking to go to, why you're stuck at the advanced tuck, and how you actually cross that boundary essentially within this video. So before we actually get into the video, there are some requirements for your straddle planche, and actually it's only one requirement. The only requirement that you need is about 8 seconds in your advanced tuck. Until you have that, you're not ready, but if you do have 8 seconds within your advanced tuck, you are ready to actually start your straddle planche journey. So what we need to do when we're actually attempting the straddle, actually I'm going to show you an attempt on the straddle, right? And this is what's actually holding you back when you're attempting straddle, because we get to advanced tuck, or we get to a good basis in the advanced tuck, and then we think, okay, I need to transition now, so I need to work on straddle. So we go forwards, we lean, and then we fall, right? You can see that my hips may have been piked as well. I might have piked up in order to make it slightly easier. I might have lost my protraction. There's all sorts of things that can go wrong when I'm attempting the straddle planche, right? So the mistake is actually just thinking, oh, I can just jump to the straddle planche, because that's not the next step. That's the issue that a lot of people run into. And what's going to end up happening, like I spent myself, is you're going to spend years, like literal years, trying to build or learn the straddle planche or progress to the next step, when it isn't that simple. It isn't as simple as attempts. Attempts will get you just falling, but never actually building any proper time or strength within the actual movement that you're trying to do. So what is the thing that we need to do? How do we actually fix this problem? Okay, so I want you to think or have a look at my examples here. I don't have my rubber, but I'm drawing a tuck planche or advanced tuck, and I'm going to draw a straddle planche. Okay, I'm going to bring this nice and close so the camera can see. So you've got your tuck planche and you've got your straddle planche, right? A lot of people think that as long as they've got enough time, they can go straight into the straddle planche. But what we actually need is another progression that will take us from tuck planche to straddle planche, right? We need something to bridge the gap. This is a giant gap. We need something, a bridge for this gap. So what do most people think that gap is? Most people think that the gap is bands. And I am heavily against bands, not because they don't work. They do work, but they're not the most efficient way, because you are training with bands. You're learning the planche with bands. You're not learning the planche as it actually is, right? So it's slightly different, not in terms of activation, but in terms of weight, in terms of feeling, right? You're taking some of that away. So what we actually want to do is, instead of training bands as our main working sets, because we were training advanced tuck as our main working sets, we want to now train as our main working sets presses. We want to learn to do the tuck press. And tuck press and advanced tuck press are relatively the same, right? So we don't really need to make much difference. But once you've learned the tuck press, you can see, if I actually want you guys to kind of spot the example of what's actually happening with the tuck press, right? I'm at a certain angle, and then I'm leaning further before I go in, right? So what is the straddle, essentially? If I'm doing a straddle planche, let me actually move this so I've got enough space and I don't kick it over. I'm doing a straddle planche. You can see I'm here. If I'm doing a tuck planche, you can see my angle changes, right? A straddle planche is a further lean. So we need to build repetition, going further, slightly further, until we're comfortable in that new range, right? So we're almost like dipping into that range with the presses. We're pressing, leaning forwards, and then pressing up, right? Why is this important rather than just doing straddle attempts? Because we can just get volume that way. We want to learn to do the press because it's the correct intention. What's not the correct intention is this and falling. That's not a good intention. What is a good intention is pressing. So I'm leaning forwards and I'm pressing, I'm dipping into that range and I'm pressing, I'm resisting against it, right? When you do straddle planche or any planche properly, it shouldn't feel like you're just holding. It should feel like you're pressing, that you're in charge of the movement. So if I'm going into straddle, I want to feel that I'm resisting, that I'm pressing, right? I'm only pressing with enough force not to lift me up into a planche press. That's the only difference. I'm maintaining the amount of force that I'm pressing with, but I'm still pressing, right? So the press is going to teach me the right intention and is going to build the strength in order to do the straddle planche. What needs to happen as well, additionally, is I still need to do band work, but not as main working sets or main volume. I need to do band work as just learning and incorporating the form. So actually understanding the form, actually understanding the positioning. That way, when I do build enough volume in my presses, I can then do my attempts without having to worry so much about how it should look, because I felt the activation, I know the activation. So now the natural question is, how do I know when I'm ready to progress, right? And that's when the attempts actually come in, right? The attempts are never your main working sets. They should never be the start of the session. They should never be just you trying to see, oh, can I straddle yet? The attempts should be as tests, right? Just like 2 weeks later or a week later, I want to do another attempt to see if I'm ready, right? But when you start attempting, I would say about two tuck presses, right? When you can do when you can do 2 tuck presses, right? You can press up twice with the tuck. You're ready to progress or move on to actually doing attempts at the end of your session, right? You want to just build more and more volume in the presses until you're actually able to do the advanced tuck attempts. Or actual hold. It's no longer attempt because now you're able to hold it for a second. Once you're able to hold the straddle for a second, you're ready to actually start making that your main working set. You can then build up from that 1 second to 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds, and then again 8 seconds. You do the same with full planche. Woo. But yeah, I'm going to give you guys some actions now. So what I want you to do is stop attempting, right? That's ruining your progress. You're going to be stuck for literal years, right? What I want you to do instead is build volume at the next logical step, which is going to be your tuck presses, right? Building volume in the presses will get you strong enough so that you can actually hold the straddle in the correct way as well, right? And then I also want you to do band work in order to actually learn the form and activation, learn the positioning, not to actually hold and feel the strength of the straddle planche. You're never going to get that out of band work, but actual learning, right? So relatively light band, go into the straddle, learn the positioning, learn the form. That shouldn't be your main working set. That should just be complementary work towards the end of the sessions. All right, so that's the video. That's how you unlock your straddle planche. If you do want help incorporating this or putting this in place, then I do one-to-one training with individuals. So if you want help putting together a proper structure for your planche work, building planche in a fun way where you can always see like what progress looks like, you can always see the next steps or next logical steps and goals, then I can help you put this in place. But without further ado, thank you for watching the video. If you like this type of content or if you like this style of videos, then hit the subscribe button so you can kind of see more videos like this, and see you in the next one.